should. This is terrifying, Patrick. And my reflection when I hear this story, and it's great journalism, by the way, is that having a weak border isn't just expensive, it isn't just dangerous for the citizens of this country, it is a profound moral failure. The left like to go on about how they are the kind and compassionate ones, but the reality is if you support weak borders, you are supporting criminals like this. You are enabling their business model, and you're enabling having very, very vulnerable people some of the time, and more often people who are chances to trying to get into this country, potentially being either a risk to this people, to this country, or alternatively being beholden to criminal networks. This is not a moral position to take to have a weak border.
Yeah, I'm going to tell people how we did it, actually. I think you have a right to know exactly how we did infiltrate this particular WhatsApp group that has got people on there, basically advertising both weapons and the trade of people in multiple different ways into Britain. So what they initially do is that they advertise the fact that they're a human trafficker on TikTok, and they show videos of their journeys. And very often, if you engage with them on TikTok, they will give you their WhatsApp number. And then we got their WhatsApp number, and we stayed in communication with them, and then they thought that we were one of them. And so they added us to this group, and then bingo, we're in. Okay, and we've got all of this information right there. Now, we reported this human trafficker some time ago, and what happened was they took his TikTok account down, but they did absolutely nothing about his WhatsApp number. And this guy has been operating, one of these guys, the main guy, has been operating now for over a year with absolute, complete and utter impunity, and they just move it onto WhatsApp. It is not being treated by our security services as a national emergency.
The fact that they're so brazen, the fact that they obviously don't have certain measures in place because they're not actually worried about the authorities infiltrating these groups and doing anything about it, just shows how, I said it's brazen, but it just shows the hubris, and they're right. They're right to not be worried about it because we're obviously not going to do anything. We haven't done anything about it. And the British people, meanwhile, are just sitting ducks. And I find it remarkable that there are still people regularly that will still argue with people like Will and I who repeatedly say this is a security issue. This is dangerous to the British public. And we've known going all the way back to the conflict in Iraq and Syria when ISIS fighters, the ones, including one of the guys who was involved in the Paris and Brussels attacks, was using those human trafficking routes, the migrant routes, to come back and forth between between the Middle East and between Europe. So we know that this is a problem. It's been going on for a really long time, and the fact that the authorities, the French authorities, and also the British, we should be much more we should be throwing our weight around, really. We need to be holding their feet to the fire and forcing them to do what we're paying them to do.
Patrick, just a question. Was there any evidence that they are offering these weapons for sale, potentially to illegal migrants?
Well, so on this group, what you have is price lists for various different countries, by the way. The Kuwaitis get one price, the Iraqis get another price, the Iranians get another price. All of this is going on this group. And if you go onto their WhatsApp story, you obviously got the pictures of all of these guns. Now, I think it's reasonable to suggest that the implication there is that these weapons are for sale and that they are all around that area there in northern France. And I would have absolutely no doubt. In fact, this could probably be the follow-up story where I tried to purchase some of these weapons off them. I would have thought that's also a big part of their business model. There's also some of the profile pictures of these people. I don't know if I might be able to bring up the old Ayatollah fanatic that we had there as well earlier on. These are the kind of people that are on this group. People that are posing with weapons themselves, or people who are praising and clearly are fans of the now deceased Ayatollah, one of them. Anyway, Jonathan, when you look at this, especially in light of global events that are taking place now, and the allegations of Iranian terrorist sleeper cells here in Britain, and you've got Shabana Mahmood there, who's entering into some negotiation with the French that may well end up with us parting with another £500 million of our cash, and they can't even dismantle WhatsApp groups or the camps themselves. We are at risk here, aren't we?
Patrick, clearly what you've identified here is a very dangerous group of people, and they should be nowhere near, obviously, any kind of business, let alone this one. And the reason that people like this are in business and why they're doing so well is that they have a monopoly on bringing asylum seekers across to Britain. Because whether you think asylum is a good or a bad thing, the fact remains that a lot of people want to come here in order to claim asylum. And because the government offers no alternative to the boats are the only game in town, and that is why these horrible people are making so much profit.
Do you think they're just bringing asylum seekers there? Because I think the implication here is that they are deliberately bringing fanatics and possibly weapons. And that is different than just bringing asylum seekers.
Well, look, if there is any evidence that they are bringing those people across, then obviously that needs to be investigated. The problem that we have is that everyone is going to be in the same group, because asylum seekers, legitimate ones, and people who mean us harm are all coming across in these boats that are obviously incredibly dangerous, and also pouring money into these criminal gangs because the government refused to do anything. And if the government was to stop that and actually smash the business model of these gangs by actually offering a safe and legal way to come here and claim asylum, which is an internationally recognised human right, you and others would be the first to complain about it. So actually, these gangs are the only game in town because people on the right insist that they are.
Well, I mean, for me, it would be so easy to stop this. It would be so easy to stop this. Demolish the camps for a start. Demolish the camps, which the French are not doing. Also, just have people, just fake undercover people, arranging every single day to meet up with these human traffickers and then nicking them.
I agree with that to an extent, but at the same time, if you smash this gang, another gang is going to pop up, and that will continue to happen for as long as there is an incentive to come to this country. And at the moment, we know there are a plethora of incentives for illegal migrants to come. That's the only way you really smash these gangs, is to make it an unappealing option to go to the UK to try and claim asylum. And that's the point that I would make to Jonathan's point, is that they have already travelled through several safe countries before they got here. They've already had the opportunity to try and get asylum if they were genuine asylum seekers. The fact that they didn't indicates that they are coming here in order to try and get all of the benefits of this country.
Well, there's never been any kind of precept in international law for someone to claim asylum in the first safe country they go through, and there are many reasons which we've discussed many times about why people might want to come to Britain. By the way, Patrick, a lot of Iranians are now on their way to Britain, and people like you presumably would support that, because first of all, you've been saying for many weeks and months that the regime they live under is unlivable, and second of all, you are absolutely supporting the bombs that are currently raining down there.
If possible, I would like them to try to stay in their own country and sort it out, unlike the Afghans, of course, who decided not to bother trying to fight off the Taliban. But anyway, when it comes to this particular issue now, we have got people in this country who are being arrested for mean tweets. We've got the government clamping down on things like with the Online Safety Act. We're being constantly surveilled left, right and centre, and we can hand regularly groups of these people with evidence of weapons, with evidence of, I would argue, literally being terrorist sympathisers, with evidence of the fact that they were bringing people across the channel as recently as yesterday, and we can hand their WhatsApp numbers to various different authorities, and nothing is being done about it.
Maybe you should accuse them of a hate crime, Patrick. Maybe you could accuse them of being transphobic or something, and the police would be immediately knocking at their door. Maybe they don't know where these people are, because it seems as if they actually just don't have this information. You're handing them information that they presumably don't already have. It makes you wonder, how robust actually is the intelligence that the authorities have. And we know that these smuggling networks, some of them are connected to Iran. We know that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard have planned to attack Britain. We know that some of those plots have been foiled. There's some suggestion, because one of these Iranian groups that seems to be linked to Hezbollah has claimed this attack on the ambulances at the synagogue just in the past few days, and also on several other attacks on the Jewish community across Europe. We know what's going on there, and I think for the British public will be looking at this and thinking, does the government actually know really what's going on? Like, how much of a handle have they got on this? Because we don't really know who's in our country at all. And as you say, with the guns as well, we have no idea what they're bringing over in these boats. We know the people who get intercepted, who end up in the migrant hotels, but who else might be coming over that don't end up getting stopped by the authorities? And where are they? Who are they? And what might they be plotting against us?
It's the urgency with this stuff now, especially in light of what is going on literally right now and what we saw on the streets of London just yesterday. There you go. There's 56 members of that group there. All of them have their phone numbers on there, their WhatsApp numbers. Plenty of them have their own faces, it would appear. All of that stuff. You know, the National Crime Agency is now in possession of all of this information. It will be fascinating to check in, won't it, in a week or two's time and see if that WhatsApp group is still running and see what's going on there. Anyway, a National Crime Agency spokesperson told us organised crime groups involved in people smuggling risk the safety of those they transport and also threaten the border security of both the UK and France. Our assessment is that the majority of migrants who are facilitated into the UK by organised immigration crime networks will have engaged with social media at some point in their journey. These networks use social media to promote their services and attract custom before moving conversations onto messaging apps. Tackling organised immigration crime remains a top priority for the NCA, and we have around 100 ongoing investigations into networks or individuals in the top tier of this type of criminality. So there we go.